The country of Somalia is located in the Horn of Africa and it is bordered by the Indian Ocean to the east. It's known for its long coastline, diverse landscapes, rich cultural heritage, and of course, pirates. When a person mentions pirates, we usually think of 18th century bandits roaming the seven seas in search for treasure, and the vessels captained by a guy with an eye patch and a hook for a hand. The pirates we'll be speaking about today aren't really that different. They do roam the seven seas and they do search for treasure, but instead of eye patches and hooks for hands, they use military grade GPS systems and Russian made AK 47s. In 2012, pirates took home over $150 million from ransoms and killed at least 35 people. But before we carry on with the story of pirates in Somalia, I want to take you back to the Genesis. I want to take you for a trip down memory lane so you can understand how we arrived to the rise and fall of piracy in Somalia. Like with most African countries, Somalia was colonized by Europeans and by Italy to be more specific. I guess some might say the Italians had FOMO because even small countries like Belgium had land in Africa back then. Italy obtained control of Somalia in 1889 and it was incorporated as a state of East Italia in 1936. Britain, of course, invaded in 1941 and retained control until 1950. It's only in 1960 when Somalia gained full independence from any colonial powers. But as the African story usually goes, the state did not see much prosperity after independence. The Somalia Democratic Republic was established in October 1969 as a Marxist Leninist one party state following a coup d'etat by Major General Mohammed Said Barre and the Somali military. The coup took place several days after a bodyguard assassinated the second president of the Somali Republic. Barre's administration ruled Somalia for the next 21 years until Somalia collapsed into civil war in 1991. Since the war in 1991, Somalia has had no official government. The office of president or ministerial posts don't exist because there are none. With a state that had no unifying powers, outsiders saw opportunity to exploit. From 1991, fishermen from Oman and Yemen didn't feel shy to steer their boats towards Somali waters and take as many fish as they could. After all, there was no official Somalian government, and by extension, there was no official Somali Coast Guard. The pillaging of Somalia waters went on for years, and Europeans even joined the exploit. The former colonial power of Italy sent barrels of toxic waste to be dumped on the shores of Somalia. Some of these barrels even contain nuclear waste. The Italian, Omani, and Yemeni governments didn't care about Somalia. They saw Somalia as a land to exploit, but eventually the Somalis grew tired and retaliated. Which brings us to today's episode. When a person steals from you on land, they're called a thief, but if they steal from you at sea, then they're called a pirate. At the turn of the 21st century, small groups of Somalis started stopping boats from Oman and Yemen to demand taxes for using their waters. In 2001, a typical stop would be about 2 to 3 Somali men getting on board a Yemeni boat, demanding supplies, and heading back to their homes to feed their families. And as more and more Somali men joined this Robin Hood type of behavior, their missions became more tactful. They evolved from men just trying to feed their families to organizations raking in millions of dollars per year. By 2011, there were 237 piracy incidents and over 1,200 hostages in this area, and unfortunately, 35 of them died in captivity. Also in 2011, the total amount of money paid for ransom was $150 million. Pirates in Somalia had become very sophisticated in their attacks. They wouldn't just attack small fishermen, but huge oil tankers leaving Saudi Arabia and heading for Europe. The Somali pirates were living La Vida Loco and just kept reinvesting in their equipment. Of course, things only happen when Western countries are affected and it requires key moments for anyone to take any type of action. One incident was when in 2008, Somali pirates hijacked a vessel heading to Sudan. Little did the pirates know that the vessel was carrying weapons for a war brewing, and the US and Russia sent in their military to ensure pirates didn't take any of the weapons. The pirates demanded $35 million for the jackpot, but they conceded to 3.2 million. The biggest wake up call, though, was when a US container ship was en route from Oman to Kenya when four Somali pirates hijacked the vessel. The US has a strict policy of not negotiating with terrorists, so they sent in their navy. Three of the four pirates were shot and killed, and it was all depicted in a movie starring Tom Hanks. Throughout my investigation of the story, I kept asking myself, like, why is it so difficult to solve this issue? I mean, they're just guys with guns. Well, it turns out the first issue is possessing weapons or guns. You're not really allowed to carry guns on international waters, mostly because shipping companies find it such a huge liability and legal problem. The other issue is that pirates don't really look like pirates until it's too late. By the time that coast guards are alert and informed of a threat, the pirates are already on board, using hostages as their body shields. And of course, the biggest point, the actual size of the ocean. It's such a huge area to cover, so it makes it difficult to detect any pirates, especially when they use small boats. The solutions to these problems are also costly, but at least they deter the pirates. One solution that the shipping companies have come up with is using spray guns on their ships. Whenever pirates are detected, they switch on the machines and spray them with powerful hoses. The second solution, which is the most costly, is asking military ships to follow their cargo vessels for protection. Since 2011, piracy incidents have dwindled, and a report from 2022 shows that piracy in Somalia is basically non existent. Nowadays, though, the international community has turned its focus to Nigeria. The warlords in Nigeria have adopted the same mindset as the Somalis. They've hijacked vessels carrying oil from all around West Africa. They feel disenfranchised by the state and want to take back what they feel belongs to them. Who can blame them, though? On some human level, you can understand that sometimes violence is needed to ensure the prosperity of you and your people. Thank you all for watching.